I used to tutor a 14-year-old girl. She was very beautiful. One day, her parents couldn't come home until late at night. She was very scared and climbed into my blanket. Having her so close, I told her, "Look, whatever I do, don't be afraid." I had barely started gently running my hand over her when she herself. But that part comes later. My name is Ryan. This happened when I was in college. I was quite brilliant in my studies. My family's circumstances weren't very good. It was just my mother and me at home. My father passed away when I was a child. My mother raised me by sewing people's clothes, and she also educated me. We were just about managing to get by. I was doing my master's degree. But I also felt strongly that I should help my mother. So one day I decided that I would start giving tuition. When I shared this idea with my professor, he was very pleased. He supported me a lot, which is why I began tutoring. I would finish my college at 2 p.m. and then from 4 p.m. onwards, I would go to people's homes and teach each for an hour. My mother was also very happy because I started earning quite well this way. Days passed. One day, my professor said to me, "Son, I have only one daughter, she studies in 11th grade. If you teach her, I will consider it a personal favor." I was surprised because he himself was a teacher. He could have taught his own daughter. But he said, "My daughter is very mischievous. She doesn't study with me. If you teach my daughter, I will pay you very well." Hearing this, I was also happy because I knew that the professor was quite rich. He was a professor and also ran an online business. Because of that, he could pay me a good fee. So I agreed to take the tuition. I said, "Okay, sir, I will come to your house in 2 or 3 days." But he said, "Son, come from today itself." As soon as my college got over, I went with him to his house. He made me sit and said, "I will send my daughter." I waited for 3 or 4 minutes. After a while, when his daughter entered the room, I was astonished to see her because she was extremely beautiful. I couldn't believe my eyes, whether the girl sitting in front of me was a mortal or a fairy. She came and sat down. Before this, I never used to talk to girls because I was a bit shy. My mother had raised me very well. I had no sister. I was an only child. For this reason, I spoke to that girl with great respect. I taught her for a while. After that, I said, "That's enough for today." Saying this, I went home. But my mind was still thinking about this girl. Her name was Sophia. Sophia was very beautiful. She seemed to me to be of a very serious nature. From her looks, it didn't seem that she could be mischievous. But the next day, I was surprised because I went to her house unannounced. When I saw Sophia in a short house dress, I quickly lowered my eyes. She was playing with her friends. I had only glanced at her once. But as soon as she saw me, she quickly went inside. A little later, she came to me to study. Now she had put on a slightly longer t-shirt. Earlier she had been wearing a very short dress. She said, "Tomorrow is my test." I prepared her for the test and warned her, "You have to get very good marks in this test because I have prepared you very well." To this, she said, "Sir, I find physics very difficult. I can't get good marks, but I will pass." I was surprised by her words. But before she could start crying, I said, "All right, fine. But if you fail?" Then she said, "Then, sir, whatever punishment you give me, I will accept." Hearing this, I started smiling mischievously. I said, "Okay, if you fail, I will punish you." Now I started waiting for her to fail the test so I could give her some punishment. I don't know why, but I started enjoying teasing Sophia. Then the next day, God heard my wish, and she failed the test. My heart jumped with joy. But I put on a fake angry face and said to Sophia, "What have you done? I prepared you so well, yet you failed." She said, "Sir, whatever punishment you give me, I will accept, but what can I do? Everything I studied, I forgot. I find physics very difficult. She was speaking to me with great innocence. I said, what did I tell you yesterday? She said, you said that if I fail the test, you will punish me. I said, fine, then what punishment do you want? She said, now whatever punishment you give me, I will accept. Her innocence started to sway my heart. I glanced at her. There was no one else present except the two of us. Such a beautiful girl was with me, and looking at her beauty, my heart began to waver. I was in a strange state. The devil had possessed me. I softly said to her, all right then. Come to me. I want to punish you. Sophia was very innocent. She obeyed me and came and sat next to me. I asked her, how old are you? She said, I am 18. She was 18 and I was 24. I asked her, if I give you any punishment, will you tell your family? She said, no, sir, I will not tell anyone about the punishment. If I do, Dad will be angry with me because despite you teaching me, I didn't pay attention to my studies. So I won't tell anyone about the punishment. I fell silent. Looking at her pink lips, my heart wanted to embrace her and love her. But my heart refused to say it. Somewhere, the good upbringing my mother had given me stopped me. So I made a decision and told her, no, I will not punish you today. But if in the future you make any such mistake in any test and fail, I will definitely punish you. Come on, I forgive you today. So she was happy, and I started teaching her again. One day, I was in college when the professor came to me and said, son, I need to talk to you about something. I said, sir, let me take my class, then I will come to you at ease. You can tell me whatever you need to. After the class, I went to the professor, but he was busy. After a while, I went inside. He said, son, sit down. I need to talk to you about Sophia. I was startled, wondering what he suddenly needed to discuss. But he said, son, I want Sophia to go to your house. Hearing this, I was shocked. Why would he want that? He said, son, I trust you. You are a very good boy. That's why I want my daughter to stay with you because I have to go out of town for some work. I have no one in the city to leave her with. And besides, her tests are going on. I thought that since you also teach her, your mother could take care of her at your house. I listened to him and was bewildered, not knowing what decision to make. But I said to him, sir, no problem. I will teach your daughter at my house. But inside, my heart was feeling much more troubled because I had made a very difficult decision. How could I handle seeing Sophia in my own home? Such a beautiful girl was going to live with me, near me. But then I thought of my mother, she would be at home. I would make her sleep near my mother. Thinking this, I agreed. Then the professor took me to his house. He had called Sophia and told her to get ready. She had a small bag with her. Sophia was quite sad. The professor tried to comfort her, Beta, daughter, look, don't trouble your teacher. Now he will teach you, and his mother will take care of you. I trust him. You are mischievous. I'm afraid you might trouble Ryan and he might scold you. Don't trouble him. Study as he teaches you. Do whatever your teacher says. Sophia said, okay, Dad. I will never give Sir a chance to complain, nor will I trouble him. In this way, I took Sophia to my house. There was no car. I was on a motorcycle. So I made Sophia sit behind me and kept her bag in front. She sat very comfortably and placed one hand on my shoulder. My heart started racing. No matter how much I wanted to keep that girl away from me, my heart was being drawn towards her. But I controlled myself and took her home. When my mother saw her, she was extremely surprised. I told her everything. My mother said, come here, son. I need to talk to you. I went to my mother's room, and she said, son, what have you done? You know your cousin's wedding is coming up. I have to go there. That wedding is in another city. I will return only after 3 or 4 days, and now you've brought her. How will she stay alone? Hearing my mother's words, it hit me, I had completely forgotten that she had to attend a wedding. Now what was I to do? I was feeling very awkward. But I composed myself and said, what's the solution now? We can't send Sophia back because her father has left. If I refuse now, he won't like it either. So let's do this, you go to the city. I will manage Sophia. She is a very good girl. I won't have any problem. My mother said, no, we can't do that. The neighbors will talk. I got angry. I said, Mom, have you started believing the neighbors' gossip? Don't you know my intentions? Don't you trust your own son? You go to the wedding comfortably. Leave everything to me. Leave it to your son. I will never let your upbringing be stained. My mother had full faith in me, and trusting me, she left for the wedding. Now in this house, there was me and Sophia. She asked me, Sir, where has your mother gone? I said, she had some work outside. She will be back by night. I didn't tell her anything and just said that mother had gone for work and would return soon. I started teaching Sophia. I explained physics to her, but she couldn't understand. She said, Sir, tomorrow is a holiday at school. I don't have to go, so you can teach me the rest tomorrow. I also remembered that tomorrow was a holiday, and I didn't have to go to college because there was an expert day. So I said, let's do this, you go to sleep. Since tomorrow is a holiday anyway, I'll teach you the rest tomorrow. Sophia said okay. I showed her the way to the room, and she left. But then suddenly she thought of my mother. She said, Sir, your mother hasn't come back yet. Where is she? I made up an excuse and said, Mother will come at night. She'll be here soon. She believed me, but inside I was also worried because I started feeling that I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have lied to her. But I was helpless. I didn't want Sophia to find out that we were both alone in this house and for her to have any suspicion about me. She went to her room and lay down, and I also came to my room. I was in a deep sleep when suddenly I felt as if the door to my room opened in the middle of the night. I felt as if someone came and lay down on my bed. I was terrified. Suddenly I thought of Sophia. I quickly switched on the dim light in my room. But as soon as my eyes fell on Sophia, I was stunned. Sophia was lying on my bed. I said, Sophia, what is this behavior? What have you come here to do? Go to your room. She said, Sir, don't be offended, but I am not used to sleeping alone in a dark house. I never sleep alone. Whenever I sleep in Dad's room. And if I'm not wrong, I also know that apart from me and you, there is no one else in this house. But what can I do? I'm afraid to be alone in the house. I can't sleep alone, so I have come to you. Hearing her words, I felt like banging my head against the wall because of her craziness. What kind of girl is this who feels no shame in staying with me? I said to her, Sophia, you are not that young. Don't you know that we cannot stay in the same room? Do I really have to explain this to you? She said, I know, but what can I do? I'm helpless. I have never slept alone. I tried for a long time to sleep alone in my room, but I was very scared. In extreme helplessness, I came to your room. I thought I would quietly come and sleep at your feet. But I won't sleep alone in that room. Saying this, she started crying. Her voice was unsettling me deeply. I quickly said, all right, be quiet. I'll find a solution. But I couldn't see any solution. So I decided to take out a blanket, make a place for her on the floor next to my bed, and said, you sleep here. I'll sleep on the bed. She said, Sir, I can only fall asleep on a bed. I can't sleep on the floor. Helplessly, I gave her my place. She slept on the bed, and I spread a blanket on the floor and lay down. I was cursing myself inside. It crossed my mind, why didn't I tell her that mother was going out of town, that she wouldn't be home? Then I would never have called Sophia to my place. But now Sophia was sleeping soundly, while I couldn't sleep on the floor. On top of that, Sophia's way of sleeping was disturbing me even more. She was wearing a full tight suit and wasn't even using the blanket. She had thrown off the entire blanket and was sprawled on the bed. My eyes kept rising to her again and again, and my heartbeats were becoming uncontrollable. Somehow, I controlled myself. But I had decided what I had to do next. The next day, I was very angry. Sophia woke up early and turned on the light. I said to her angrily, "What is this behavior?" I had decided that I would now scold her so much that she would realize what she had done. I scolded her a lot. I made her repeat a topic again and again, and when she couldn't get it right, in anger, I even slapped her. She held her cheek and looked at me in astonishment. I had deliberately slapped her so that she would never come near me at night again. I didn't want my emotions to rise and make me take a wrong step. Sophia understood as well. With tears welling up in her big eyes, she said, "Okay, I will not trouble you anymore. I will go back to my house." But I was helpless too. I couldn't send her back. For days passed like this. I felt very bad. After that, Sophia told her father. But the professor didn't say anything to me. On the contrary, he was embarrassed and said, "I apologize. I knew my daughter is mischievous. She must have done something." I said, "It's nothing, sir. I know Sophia is a young girl. She doesn't understand." So I forgave her. But the next day, the professor said, "Now Sophia will not study with you. I will arrange for a female tutor to teach her. That way she will study out of fear." So she no longer studied with me. But my livelihood continued anyway. Slowly, I began to forget Sophia. But somewhere in a corner of my heart, she still lived. When I slapped her and tears glistened in her eyes, whenever I remember that moment, my heart races. I didn't want Sophia's eyes to water because of me. But slapping Sophia was necessary. Otherwise, at that age, anything could have gone wrong. And at that age, both of our ages were delicate. If I had done something wrong at that time, I would never have been able to look at myself in the mirror for the rest of my life, nor would I have been able to raise my eyes and speak to my mother. So, reluctantly, to show Sophia the right path, slapping her was necessary. 5 years passed. One day, I found out that she had reached university. I was very surprised because by then I was also working. She was only 6 years younger than me. One day, suddenly my eyes fell on Sophia at the university gate. I was astonished to see her beauty. She was no longer a little girl, she had grown up and become sensible. The university atmosphere had gotten to her. Some boys were standing around her, talking to her. I was surprised. I glanced at her. Perhaps she recognized me too, but she didn't come to me. I was very surprised. What kind of anger was this that she didn't come to me? Many days passed like this. My heart was yearning somewhere. The suppressed love for Sophia in my heart began to stir. I now only looked at Sophia. There were 4 boys around her who had become her friends, and I felt very bad. Helplessly, one day I went up to Sophia. I said, "Did you recognize me?" She didn't answer me. I got very angry. I grabbed her hand, took her to the side of a tree, and said, "What is this behavior? When you ignore me like this, I am forced to do all this. So listen to me quietly." Sophia said, "I know I troubled you a lot." Hearing her words, I was shocked. I said, "I taught you. Will you repay me like this? I respected you a lot. But now you speak to me like this. I respected you a lot. But now you speak to me like this. She said, at that time, you were my teacher, but now you mean nothing to me. And I speak like this only to those I don't know. I became very upset. How could I apologize to her? Then one day, I apologized to her. I told her, at that time, it was very necessary for me to be angry with you. If I hadn't been angry, a lot would have gone wrong. You and I were at a delicate age. That age is very sensitive. A small mistake would have ruined both of us. That's why I had to be angry with you and raise my hand on you, because it was no small matter that a young man and woman slept alone like that. I got angry at you so that you would become angry and start sleeping away from me. I was a boy. How long could I have controlled myself? I didn't want to do anything wrong with you. And the truth is, I slowly started liking you. I fell in love with you. Hearing my words, she remained silent. She didn't say anything. But the sparkle in her eyes told me that she was happy to hear what I said. Perhaps she loved me too. She left. But I didn't stand there either and walked away, because now I knew that perhaps she would realize her mistake and apologize to me. But days passed like that, and Sophia didn't come. Several days passed. One day, someone called out to me. As soon as I looked back, it was Sophia. She came to me and said, "Forgive me. I shouldn't have done all this." But what could I do? No one had ever spoken to me the way you did. You taught me. Thank you very much for that. But I was very fragile. My father never spoke to me in such a harsh tone. But that day, you slapped me. From that moment, I had decided that I would tell my father that I would not study with you, and I would get another tutor. Hearing her words, I started smiling slightly. The very next day, I sent my mother with a marriage proposal to Sophia's father. My professor had no objection to this match either. He happily agreed. And exactly 10 days later, Sophia came as my bride, sitting in my room. I sat in front of her, looking at her, and she was shrinking with shyness. I held her hand and said, "Sophia, now you can sleep on my bed, with me, with full freedom." Saying this, I kissed her hand, and she, blushing, nestled against my chest.